You?
You too.
So I heard your parents wanted you to come see me. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that and how the process kind of goes and kind of give you some background information on how the sessions are going to be moving forward. Does that sound okay?
Sounds good.
Perfect. The first thing I really do want to talk to you about, though, is confidentiality. So what you say here stays here. I won't share it with anybody else except for 3 reasons, and they're all based around your safety. So they are if you're going to hurt somebody else, if somebody's going to hurt you, or if you're going to hurt yourself. Okay, so those are the only times I would have to share that information, and I would only share with people who need to know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, do you have any questions about that?
So what about with my parents? Would you have to tell them if I told you something?
So if something serious having to do with your safety comes up, I would have to share with them. But if there's something that you would rather me not share with them, I will tell them that I can't tell them that information.
That's good to know.
Yeah? Okay, any other questions?
No, I think I'm okay.
Perfect. Okay, so our sessions do happen to be about an hour long, and we can meet once a week, once every couple weeks. That's really up to you. Is there a preference that you would have?
I think maybe once a week might be pretty good right now.
Perfect. Yeah, that would work for me. Is there anything that you really want to talk about or anything really bothering you right now?
I think, well, pretty much, I think it's more to do with just my friends at school, and I think there's some girls at school that might be maybe not so friendly or not so nice to me, so I'd love to talk about that.
Right, okay, so why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Okay, so I have these 2 friends at school, and so actually the first friend, we were friends first, and then this new girl came to school. I was her friend after, and then I introduced the 2, and now that I introduced the 2 of them sort of pair up for everything, and it's pretty much me feeling pretty excluded a lot of the times.
Okay.
So I don't know, I just don't think that that's something that a friend should do.
Right, yeah, so it sounds like you're being left out from that. Yeah. So how are you coping with that?
Well, I don't really know what to do. I mean, sometimes I just have to listen to music all recess long, or just kind of sit out or something. So, it doesn't really give me a lot of other options for people to hang out with, and yeah, so I kind of feel excluded from that group.
Right.
And all of that.
Well, music is a great tool to use to help kind of pass that time too. Do you have any other friends or anybody else that you're close with?
I mean, I do, and I could hang out with them too, but I think, with this, so my first friend and then now this new girl, now that they're friends, sometimes they try to turn other girls on me as well, sort of. Sometimes they all hang out together, and because these 2 girls don't want to hang out with me, then the other girls, it sounds like they don't want to either. Or at least that's how I feel, because they sort of just play together, and there's not really room for me to come in there.
Yeah, so it sounds like there's some of that like bullying and peer pressure going on there.
You do think so?
Yeah, that to me, that exclusion piece sounds like peer pressure even. I don't know if you've talked about that before. You know what that is?
Not really. Do you want to tell me a little?
Yeah,
I don't know.
so there's different kinds of peer pressure. There's spoken peer pressure and unspoken ones. So sometimes somebody's saying to you that they'll only do something with you or want you to do something for them, and they'll be your friend. Or there's the exclusion piece. So what you were talking about, it sounds to me like a huddle where everybody gets together, but then they exclude somebody because they don't want them to be a part of that situation.
That happens all the time.
Yeah. Do you have, what do you do in those situations?
Yeah, like I said, I just kind of walk away and do my own thing. So usually I'm kind of alone now, and I don't know, it doesn't feel very good to not be part of that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that it was actually a thing that happens, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty common occurrence, and I'm glad that you're sharing that with me. It can be really tough to share those kinds of things. I think there's also, if you had a trusted adult that you could talk to about it too, aside from me, maybe somebody at school or even your parents. Sometimes we don't want to talk to our parents about this sort of stuff, but they can be really helpful in these situations, right?
Yeah, for sure. I tried to talk to my parents, and they just said, you can just go make new friends, but it's sometimes hard to make new friends, so I don't know exactly how I can do that, or yeah, it doesn't seem like they get it at all.
Okay. Yeah, that's really tough.
Mhm.
So, if it's okay with you, I think maybe this would be a good time to kind of talk about what friendships are and what they look like, and maybe you can tell me a little bit about what you know, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, perfect.
So do you want me to start, or?
Yeah, why don't you just kind of tell me what you know?
Okay, well, I know, well, with friendships, it's, you have to, friends are like somebody you can trust, and somebody you can tell things to without them telling everybody else and
Definitely.
gossiping.
Yeah.
Friends are kind of there for you, and that means at school, they're friends that you can hang out with, and you don't really have to make plans. You just know that they're going to be there, and
Right.
maybe you just agree that you're going to hang out during lunch or recess,
Yeah.
or pair up for projects and things like that. And friends, so I mentioned them being trustworthy. I think that's a big one too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to have a friend that you're going to tell secrets to, or personal things about yourself, and then have them use it against you, or use it for reasons for people not to be your friend.
Right.
All of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I mean, I think you just need a friend that's supportive and listens and is happy for you. All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's a great list that you're starting out right there. Somebody that's honest and supportive and trustworthy. Those are really great skills and qualities to have in a friend. Is there anything else that you can think of?
I mean, it would be nice if your friends are also people that have the similar interests as you, so you can do things together.
Right.
But yeah, other than that, I mean, I think that describes a pretty good friend to me.
Right, I think so too. Yeah, for sure. Though the other thing is so it's great that you have that such a good understanding of what a friend is. Have you ever thought about what a frenemy would be, or somebody that is not really a friend?
Yeah, I don't really know if I've heard the word frenemy before.
Yeah.
But I kind of get what you mean when it's somebody who's maybe not really your friend. So is it like somebody that maybe you thought was your friend, and then turns out they're maybe not?
So do you want me to explain it to you a little bit? Yeah, I can do that. So a frenemy is somebody that on the surface kind of looks like your friend, but in reality kind of acts like they're not. So they might it looks a lot like peer pressure too, and bullying, right? So they may ask you to do something for them so that they don't get in trouble, so you do. Or if you're going through a hard time, they may say that they're too busy and can't help you out. But in reality, a good friend would be there for you no matter what was going on, right? So just that sort of thing. So they kind of put up this facade that they're your friend, but behind the surface, they really don't have much interest. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I think I can understand that. And that kind of reminds me of this girl that I was telling you about as well.
Yeah.
Where I didn't think that she would maybe steal my new friend away and then just kind of exclude me like that.
Yeah, that's a really tough situation to be in.
Yeah.
For sure. Have you thought about how you're going to handle that? Or do you know how to?
I mean, I don't really know what else I can do, so I don't know if you have any ideas or things that could be helpful, because I feel like I usually just walk away and do my own thing.
Well, walking away is a really great skill to have, and that takes a lot of assertiveness and strength to be able to do that. So that's really awesome that you're already doing that. There are lots of different things that you can do. I can talk to you about some of them. They might not all work, but I can mention a few, and then we can discuss one or two that you think might work better for you.
That sounds great, yeah.
Perfect. So some of the skills that we can talk about are talking to them or to a trusted adult. I think that's really important. Another one could be some of those coping skills to help you deal with those emotions in the moment. Like you said, like that walking away or listening to music. Those are great coping skills. And then the last one is maybe even just finding a new group of friends.
Yeah, I think those sound really good as well. I'm thinking, I think eventually, like, it would be nice to make some new friends as well and branch out. But right now I'm thinking it might be important to also talk to these two girls.
Right.
to tell them, hey, this is not cool or something like that. I don't
Yeah.
really know how I would do it, but I think it might be helpful maybe to just tell them how I'm feeling.
Sure. Yeah. It sounds like you want to let them know how you're feeling, but you're just not quite sure how to do that.
Yeah, I think it would be good if they knew, because what if they don't even know that they're making me feel this
That's
way?
very true. Yeah, maybe they don't know that they're making you feel this way. So there is one skill that I find is really helpful to talk to somebody, to tell them how you're feeling without really blaming them for what you're feeling. So it kind of prevents them from getting defensive and putting their back up against the wall when they're having this conversation with you. It's called an iMessage. Have you heard of those before?
I don't think so.
No? Okay, so I have a little handout here that I can give to you that can help you practice in the future. So basically, an iMessage is basically like a script telling somebody how you feel and why it makes you feel this way, or like what they did, that sort of thing. So the first part, it says, I feel, and then you list whatever emotion you're feeling. So I feel frustrated. And then you go, when you, so that's, you listing what they did. So whether that's, leaving you out or somebody takes something from you that you don't want. And then you can, because, to kind of explain why that emotion came up in you, and then you say what you need from them. So you ask them, could you please stop, or could you talk to me, or something like that. Does that make sense?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you this handout now. So what I would like you to do is kind of practice one with me right now, okay? So it can be about your friend's situation, or it can be about anything in general. Just practice.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel excluded
Okay.
when you hang out without me at recess,
Mhm.
because then I don't have anybody else to hang out with.
Mhm.
Could you please include me as well? I don't know. How does that sound?
Yeah, that's really great.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really tough to come up with that on the spot,
Yeah.
especially when you're around somebody else. So I think that was a great example, and I think that's something you could definitely talk to them about and use that on there.
I think I'll try that. Yeah.
Perfect. So I'm just looking at the time now, Sarah. So it looks like our hour's pretty much up. So I think this conversation has been really great. So hopefully, in the future, we can talk some more about this sort of stuff. And I think in the meantime, we did have a really great conversation about how you're feeling with your friends at school and that situation at home with your parents not really validating what you're feeling. But I think we've come up with some skills that you're able to use. So I think moving forward, if it's okay with you, between now and our next session, if you can practice those iMessages, and then maybe next week we can talk about how that went, and if you didn't like it or feel that it didn't work, we can come up with something else.
I think that would be helpful.
That would work?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so yeah, that was really great. Thanks so much for coming in. I'll see you next week.
Thank you.